a distinguished panel of politicians and political watchers here who are going to talk to us about this historic election day. And gentlemen, I want to thank you both, all of you. I said both. I'm used to both. We got 4 today. So thanks all of you for being here. I'm going to start with you, Congressman. Gentlemen, what do you all think is the main thing that has brought people out? We've been talking for the last 15 minutes talking about the record turnout. What do you think it's all about? And Congressman Davis, I'll just start off with you.
I think 2 things. Obviously, we have a chance to make history today. In fact, whichever ticket wins will make history. Either the first black president or the first woman vice president. That's gotten a lot of people interested who frankly haven't always been interested in politics. Second of all, everyone senses the economy is in the ditch. We had a quarter of negative growth, which means that we probably are officially in a recession now, or we'll look back retrospectively and see this was the beginning of the recession. So a lot of people are worried about the economy.
Congressman Aderholt, what do you think?
Well, I would concur that definitely the historic nature of this election, because of it, you'll have an African American that could be elected president, first female vice president on the Republican side. So it's a lot at stake. But of course, as Artur mentioned, no doubt the economy has weighed a lot, and a lot of things. I think there's been a lot of discussion over the last several months about how potentially important this election is, and so it's really caused a lot of people to, I think, vote that has never voted in the past, and so I think it's really going to be interesting to see what the numbers are.
You know, you've made being a congressman a very important, very big part of your life. Is this exciting to you today?
It is. Election day is always like probably like a big football game in so many parts of the country, just so that it's because it's just waiting to see what team is going to win and see what happens.
Stephen Gordon, I want to bring you a reminder of you. Stephen Gordon is head of the Alabama Libertarian Party. You all are not as powerfully represented in the media as the 2 major parties are. You're watching all this happen. What are you thinking as you watch it?
I sort of beg to differ with the 2 distinguished congressmen. They're talking about it being a historic election because we may have a white or female vice president or a black president. What's more important are the issues, the financial issues, the bailout which just happened. That's what people are talking to us about. I get kids calling me every day wanting to know how they're supposed to pay for the mistakes their grandparents and parents are making.
Yes. Do you think that's what's behind the big numbers that we're seeing here?
I believe that the media and political pundits and political operatives spend a lot of time and a lot of money to present to this image, and it really takes our focus away from the important things, the political issues that we should be talking about.
Well, does that mean that you think that the pundits and the media have kind of pumped the whole thing up so that there was more interest than there'd normally be? Is that what you said?
They do what everybody does. They try to sell ratings. Politicians try to win. Everybody's doing their job, but it's the way it's all working out.
I'm going to toss back to the congressman just for a second, and Congressman Davis, what do you expect as the day progresses? We saw real big long lines this morning. Think it'll dwindle down? You think it'll stay thick? What do you think?
I think you'll have a heavy turnout today. We will probably have the largest turnout percentage-wise, of course, in terms of actual voters we've ever had in Alabama. We could very well have an 80+% voter turnout. That's massive. The lines will ebb and flow during the day, but I think you're going to see a huge turnout, and of course all around the country in states that have early voting. There were places in Atlanta that had lines of 4 hours last Friday.
I know.
A lot of people are going to come out to vote today because of the stakes in this race.
You know what? Secretary of State Beth Chapman was in the lobby just a few minutes ago, and she really mirrored what you just said. 79 to 81% of all eligible voters are registered. John, shaking your head. John, because that's huge, right? I mean,
that's astonishing.
That never happens in Alabama.
Never in my memory. Any of you remember anything like that ever?
What do you attribute that to? What do you think that's about?
Well, there's a lot of dissatisfaction with the way things have gone in the last 8 years, obviously. We talk about the economy now. We talk about all those issues that the congressman mentioned, but we also have the war going on. We also have a lot of resentment over some of the previous campaigns, and I think a lot of that kind of welled up in the magic that was Obama in the first part of this campaign.
You know what? Talk about resentment just a little bit. What do you mean by that, and who do you think is feeling it?
Well, there's a lot of people who never got over the 2000 race that they believe, that maybe Bush didn't belong in there in the first place, and when campaigns roll around, people remember that.
People you talking to, feelings high? People pumped up about this one?
Oh yes.
And please.
Well, let me jump in, Tracy, and make one point. And this is the Democratic point of view, but I think it's one that should be represented. What Obama has managed to do is to galvanize a lot of people who, frankly, had lost confidence in American politics. Now, John McCain has a remarkable life story, and he's had a very distinguished record in the U.S. Senate. But frankly, I give Obama a lot of credit for raising people's sense of possibility about politics around this country. He's run a very noble campaign, and arguably has run the best, most disciplined campaign I've seen a candidate run. It's a remarkable effort on Obama's part.
Congressman,
well,
yes,
let me just say, I think, and I agree with John here, even though we talked about the historic nature of this election and how of the first African-American elected president, first female vice president elected, but also, too, I think what John said is totally on point. The issues in this campaign cannot be overlooked. And I think a lot of time it gets a lot more focus because we are focusing on the historical nature. But truly, you have two candidates, John McCain and Barack Obama, that represent two different viewpoints, the way they look at the way that the system of our government operates. And so I think because you have such a difference the way where you have more government control where from the side of Barack Obama and less government control from the side of John McCain.
I'll tell you what, Stephen, if you hold your point just for a second, because we're going to go to a break. Gentlemen, when we come back, I want to try to zero in on Alabama. What are Alabama voters and not voters, non-voters, thinking? What are they feeling? And let's talk about some of those issues that may or may not be getting covered up right now. So we'll get to that.